friend, it's Pat Sloan here. So we are doing London Town today. That's primarily what this video will be about. Just getting the eye finished for the quilt. This is the London Town sampler by Cake Stand Quilts. This is a UK based designer, Nicole, and it's such a cool sampler. This is not, as you've been watching, one of those fast and easy projects. This is one that takes a little bit more work for each of the blocks, and you're just making one, well, not always one of each. If there's 2 trees, there's like 5 flags. But for most part, everything is just one of each building, one eye, etc. The Ferris wheel is called the eye because that's what they call it in London, the London Eye. Which is gigantic from what I can tell in the pictures and people who have been to it. If you have been to London and ridden the eye, tell us about it here in the comments. Or if you want to write over at Facebook in my fireside chat community for our chats about non-quilting things. You can talk about a trip to London. We'd love to hear it, love to experience that. I haven't been there in a long time. I went a couple of times when we lived in Europe as a teenager, as a young kid, and then as a teenager a couple of times. I have fun stories. I should probably, maybe I'll tell one today. We'll see. So first it's croissant day. I love a good croissant. Like, I don't bother eating anything that isn't like made in a very traditional manner because those are the kind that I like, and so I don't waste the calories on other kinds. And I just, they're flaky, they're laden with butter, and so they're not diet food, by the way. So if you are a fan of very traditional croissants, let me know. I want to know if I have friends out there who love croissants. Okay, the Ferris wheel is moving along. Let me first show you this. You know, last week I ended with doing the blades, but not sewing any together, not tracing the line yet. So let me show you the next part of the process. So I have the blade drawn on here, and the fact that this goes past is fine because the Ferris wheel has this big center that covers all of that, so we don't need to actually go all the way to we don't need any extra down here. All right, so I'm going to sew these 2 at a time. I think that will be more efficient for me. And then you're going to be taking these 2, and you need to match up 2 things. 2 edges. So I'm going to pin them for sure. I also am going to flip this so that I'm nesting. So I'm nesting these seams like this. The tan is the opposite direction, the seam allowance, to the blue, so that they nest together and I don't have a big lump there to go over. And then I will pin that so they don't shift. I mean, some people like to glue that. And then I'm using my fingers to be sure this edge is even. You know, I'm not sort of chancing it. I am manipulating the fabric so that it's even. And then once again, a pin in there, which I don't want on the sewing line because I don't want to have to take it out. So I'm going to kind of put it up here. So now what I'm going to do is just sew this line. From here to here. Let me get in here. I'm going to sew this line from the top to the bottom, which is what I did right here. So this one's already done. And I back stitched, well, I believe she tells you that, I back stitched at the top because when you open it then, here's how they meet. So your goal is to get these smoothly meeting and this intersection here locked in. And these you can actually manipulate just a tiny bit, you know, if you need to. But there is might be a wee bit little gap. I'm not worried about that because this is going to be either going to applique it by hand or by machine. You're going to top stitch it like she does. You can see it in her picture. Or if you applique it, either way, you can handle that little, if there's a little bitty gap there for some reason, you can manipulate the fabric. And so basically I'm going to take 2 at a time and do all 20 blades. Here's where I'm at after I've done a few of these. I've kind of found my way of doing it. I will be sewing from the bottom edge to the top edge. And so I will first, flip them over, be sure that they're in the right order. Remember I said I'm just doing 2 at a time because I can handle those best. So I will get the top edge here where that join is, lined up so that I'm got a perfect sort of snug in seam there. Then I will check, then I'll pin that, and then I will pin this so that they're even. I'm going to manipulate it with my finger, make it even. Then I will come along and be sure that this line here and this back line that I drew on the other one are matching. And so I will pin along here. Let me just put the pins in and show you. First are the top 2 at the intersection of the lower and top portion, and then at this top edge where I get them nice and snug, right even. And then now I will pin down this line so that it's matching on the back side. Here are pins along the line that I'm going to sew, and you can see on the back the pins are matching on the line. And so I will sew here. Hopefully I'm keeping the camera, and I've got to take the pin out because I am not going to sew over the length of a pin. And then I do want to keep that pinned as long as I can. Okay, so I've got a pin up at the top intersection now. So this is all just regular, you're just sewing. The pinning is the important part. Now when I get to this top, to that very top edge, let me see if I can scroll this in. Okay, so what I want to do is when I get to that top edge is I'm going to back stitch, and you have to be sure that your machine doesn't suck everything in. Mine is a really nice machine, so it's not. And I will hit the reverse button, and I can't do that. I mean, you can also just rotate it if you wanted. Yeah, that'll work. You can just rotate it and just go back. And then what I do is I do a couple stitches out into the seam allowance, and then I can cut the thread, and there we go. And here is the intersection of the 2, and there might be just a wee little 16th of the air, 16th of 26 whatever of a gap, and I am not worried about that because I'm going to top stitch it, or I don't know, I might even hand applique that down. If I do that, I just tack that down. Otherwise, the machine applique will just come around there, no big deal. And so later, we'll be trimming this away. You don't want all that bulk under there, but I am not doing that yet. I'm not doing that till I am sure about things, because I'm probably going to have to maybe adjust a few seams to get everything in sync just a little bit because of it being a hand-drawn template. And I might just be a smidgen that I need to take in, so I want to leave all of this here for now. I'm using a design board to keep them on now so that they stay where I want them to stay in the order. And I do recommend, just in case you accidentally knock it off the table or just bump it with your hand and they go flying for some reason, is just, you can pin into these design boards, which are they're so awesome. So just stick some pins in there so you keep track. This is the center. We have 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and this will of course be tightened up into more of a curve as we go. And see, there's her drawing. In order to keep track on the board, I have them placed in order, and I was pressing them to do this part. They were face up. So as I get to each one, I pick it up and turn it over and do the line across the top with the template, and then draw the other 2 lines like this. And then what I'll do is I'll take this whole thing over there to the side where I'm working and be able to sew across the tips, and then sew them into 2 units of 2 like this. So I'll have the second half, and then I'll be sewing these units and then those units to get each half. So you can see like it's an oval right now, but it will not be an oval. It'll be a circle when I'm done. I'm flipping all of the points. You can see here, like if I pick these up and go to sew them right sides together, these are not flipped yet. So I have to come and flip each of these points out and press them before I sew blades together. I want you to see the difference between half of the Ferris wheel sewn and the section with 2 blades just sewn. Do you see how different this looks? It just shores it up and pulls it in to the exact size. And I've already trimmed the, well, I didn't trim this one yet, so you can still see it. So here is the flap, but I trimmed all the other ones. So this one I will trim as well. And now on, and see, it's not going to, the instructions have us doing some cutting here. And so when we get to, this part's done, then when we get to that part, I'll talk about it. I just want to show you now. It's so exciting to see it coming together. I have just folded under. I just tucked under so that I could get that straight line. And that is what will be down here, because we have the line marked, the sewing line marked. And yeah, so there's how that one will look. So you know, it's just what I did up there. I just wanted to tuck it under just to see. Okay, now I gotta put them side by side just to see. Okay. Oh my goodness, so fun. Look at it. Oh my goodness, so fun. Now we're at the part where I've got 2 halves, and let me just show you. I've got them folded under right now. So the 2 halves are folded under like this, just so I could get a feel. But let me unfold so that you can see what they look like. Because as I was showing you while this was going, you know, being made, they went from this very wide angle, right? And as you sewed them, we brought the angles in. And then now we have the 2 halves, which have to go together. And there are drawn lines on here of the shape. And like I told you, we're gonna see how this goes, because we made our own template. Sorry about that jiggling. I don't know, my thing is not smoothly rolling in and out anymore. It's a very, very old video camera. Very, very old. I'm happy it still works. So you can see the lines. And on the other side, there are also lines. And those will be what I will be sewing to each other. You know, kind of like this, right? Just like we sewed 2 blades, I will just sew the next units together on that line, you know, one side. Now the pattern has you taking it here and doing some trimming. And I can tell you what, let me just talk to you here. That scares me because, first of all, it's not my pattern. I didn't write it, so I have to interpret somebody else's instructions. And one of the things for me is that I'm a little uncertain with the trimming that I will do it correctly. And I don't see any reason to do it because I have the blades drawn. That's the sewing line. It's just like when you put 2 blades together. We're just now going to do the 2 blades we're putting together are just from the halves. What's going to happen though is because these are hand-drawn patterns and they're not precision cut, most likely it will not be totally flat. So what I will do is just come in and fix some seams, take them in a little bit. I'm assuming it'll be too big, could be too small, so I have to undo a seam, but I'm assuming I just need to like do some little bit of sewing on some of the seams to make them a little bit deeper so that I can kind of ease it into being flat. Who knows, it might be a miracle and I'll do both of these seams and it'll be perfect. I'm not expecting that, but so you want to be sure. And also check that you did your blade colors correctly, because it makes an image that, you know, you don't want to have 2 white or 2 blue next to each other and all of a sudden, you know, you're all messed up. So you can see here where it's sewn, right? We want to be sure all of that is correct. Okay. So I'm pretty much going to do exactly what I've just been showing you. Now I'm always sewing from the bottom, from down here. Hold on. I want to sew from the inside, not from the outer point, because I find I have a lot more control if I'm sewing from here on the inside up to this place at the top where they have to meet well, there we should meet them, where they have to meet so nicely. You know, not only do I have to get this intersection right, but then I have to get these edges, top edges right. And I feel like I have zero control coming from this end up here. I have all the control coming from down here. So that's what I'll do. I first will pin up at here, pin these up, you know, matching the line underneath. That's so important. Matching this line by, I just kind of get it going by putting a pin, you know, put a pin in the front and like say that one's not right. And so I want to be sure, you know, just to kind of get it started there. So that's kind of the lineup. And then now I have to do the intersections and be sure they are correct. These two intersections up here, you know, the join. And then, yeah, then I have this piece lining up. So it's, well, so you got to just check the back, check the back, check the back to be sure that you're actually getting it correct. And yeah, so then once it is, I'll do another pin down here, and then I will sew up like I've showed you. So I'm going to do this one and the other side, and then we'll open it and see how flat it is. This is what it's going to look like. You really must press this. Don't just try to finger press it. Go to your iron and press it. So these are going to be overlaying because we're basically coming in. See, I've just kind of done this finger press here prior, and that will be matching up there, you know, when I get it all, you know, finessed so that it hits that junction, you know, this intersection here and up there. And so it's looking pretty good. I'm going to just sew it and we'll see. Here is what this last pinning looks like. I want to show you like how much extra there is because we're dealing with these wide rectangles to start with. And I've got everything on the back side matched up so that I'm not shifted. If you're shifted, it's not going to lay flat. You need to match it at every intersection on the back side. So you're matching those lines through. I'm at the ironing board. I just want to show you what it looks like. And even laying it flat just like this before I've pressed it, it looks really good. Oh, I did not meet that intersection very well. Okay, so I have to decide, do I want to undo it? It is pretty darn flat. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the template didn't mess it up too much. Now that intersection, I don't like it, so I think I am going to fix it. It's just a little more off than I would like. So I just unpick that and resew it. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's better. I just had to shift it. It's not spot on, but it is much closer, and I am leaving it. That is good enough for me. And so this is okay. So I think it's pretty flat. I think it's flat enough that I can use it. I'm going to put it on the table and see. Well, here it is. It is very flat. The tips, you know, as I go, they'll be stitched down then. The one thing is I've got a little bobble here. I need to see how big the center is. I might need to just stitch the seam a little bit deeper, like right up until this point, like from here to here, just to tuck that, to get that tucked in. I don't know, it's got like a little extra stuff. I mean, there's going to be a circle here to cover all this, so I might try the circle and just see, would it cover that, and then it doesn't matter. I don't need to do anything because it kind of flattens out right here, but it's got something right there that's a little off. I traced it for the center onto the fusible, the heat and bond fusible, and I just made a fold to get the middle, put the middle in, you know, approximately the middle there, and it will definitely cover that little weirdness down here, so I'm not going to even fuss with it. It'll be underneath the hub. It's called the hub in the pattern, the middle of the Ferris wheel. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and finish the entire block. Now we're going to pick the other parts, the fabric, so that I can finish. Because I realized, you know, there's a little bit of fussy cutting that would look really great for this center. I'm going to put it down here. My background is the same as the light part of this wheel, you know, because that's looking through. So that's the background. I'll just I have more. This is my fabric line, Paradise Park. So let me just put it up here. So it's something like this, and we have like the down below. You've got the base. So there's like a very small part of the base. Do you see that? It's not very much. And then the center. So the base I was looking at, I've got this with crowns, which I thought might be kind of cool. And then I have this deep red, and then I also have this pinky red. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. But I think that's too light. I don't know, there really is not much showing, but I think it's too light. I think I'd like to anchor it with something darker, which I think this one is probably the best. The crowns are pretty cool too, but I think they're a little bit brighter, and that's a little bit more, leaning toward the burgundy. So I'm going to go with that one. All right, so in the center here, so this will be at the base. In the center, I was looking at fabrics like this with a floral to fussy cut that center. But I then decided I would just go in my red bin and root around. And look what I found. Look what I found. Look at this. I am going to fussy cut here. So first of all, I just need to cut the middle out so I can show you. Because I'm going to fuse it. So I'm going to cut away the middle because I do not want it full fusible. I will stitch, this is like basting it on because this little rim will get stitching. But there, we can see how it's going to look. Won't that be fantastic in the middle? Oh my gosh, that is just so cool. So that is what I'm going to use. I don't know what this is from. It doesn't really even have a manufacturer name. It's just like the tail end of something. And it's from quite a few years ago. But I think that is cool. So be sure you go looking through what you already own for that perfect center when you're doing this. I am so excited about this. Look at that center. Look, just look. So, doesn't that look cool? I blanket stitched the center down, but I am going to hand applique around here. I did a drop of glue like about that far in, and I'm going to just hand applique all the way around it. I think it'll be nice, and it'll be a nice touch. And I did do a little test of a blanket stitch on like one blade, and I didn't like the way it was looking. It was just a little too heavy. I really just wanted to not have any extra thread work showing. Like the red, you can pretty much see the red, but these are all different colors, and I just decided it's just easier. I will hand applique that part down. Okay, so before we go, I want to show you a few of your London towns. Let's take a look. Here's Janet's building with that tile fabric. Look how cool that is. I love that. We've got next Melissa, my friend Melissa, who's an ambassador, and she has the whole top done. Melissa did it. Looks so good. I love it. Beverly's castle. Oh, look at the window fabric and look at the flags. Oh my goodness. She found little bitty British flags for up there. My friend Carrie, who is also an ambassador, this is her Liberty building, Liberty of London store building. Oh, looks so good. So good. Krista's trees. There's the trees. It's got squirrels and birds in them. Perfect. Just perfect. I'm going to show you Isabel's blocks, and she's added in a few paper piece things. Isabel likes to do paper piecing, and so she switched out a few blocks, and here is her clock face up front. I just thought I'd show you. Looks very good. Love it so much. Jackie's got two buildings to show you. Oh, they are wonderful. Love the stripe on the castle over there. That looks super good. Jennifer's... she's got her black cab in mushroom fabric. Oh, that is perfect. Do I have that fabric? I'm going to look. Julie is got her tower here, her Big Ben, and then also she has her soldier. There, the guard. There's the guard. I love the fabric there used for the pants and the hat. So good. Okay, Kendall has a few of his blocks, also his Big Ben and his soldier. So these are ones I've saved. So they're kind of random all over the place, which is kind of fun. Lucy's, oh, she's got the Liberty hand stitch or machine stitch, whatever it is, right above the windows. Looks like, yeah, that looks so good. And I like her little flag up there too. It looks like a ribbon. Marcy's is all together. Look at this. It is so fun to see them all together. You guys are doing such a great job. Marnie's blocks. I believe this is all but the Ferris wheel. So lower left where the Ferris wheel will go, she's got everything kind of placed where they will be. So beautiful. Everything looks so good. Patsy has a ton of blocks as well. Oh, I love the castle with those lighter towers. And all your building, yeah, the buildings have that lighter fabric. That looks great. Patty's blocks, they're all the blocks, all the blocks. Her castle has purple in it, so she's put a touch of purple in here. At least it looks purple on my monitor. Wonderful. They are amazing. Just a couple more. Sandy's, and she did a little bit smaller version with the blocks that you see. And I love the floral. So she's kind of repeated that floral in most of the blocks, or all of the blocks have a floral in them, like a two-tone floral. That is very effective. And we'll wrap it up with Shirley's Liberty of London store and polka dots, polka dots. And she looks like she has a dimensional ribbon for the flag. Oh my goodness, how stinking cute is that? Thank you everybody for sharing. So excited to see yours. Keep sharing as you go along. Okay, I'll be working on this. I will keep working. I'm at the point now that I have the cars, I'll do the umbrella next because it's the same format. It's just 5 blades and a lot less complicated. So I will do that because I'm in blade mode. And then the car and the bus and the flags. Oh my gosh. So that's where I'm going. I am on a roll now. I will just keep working on it and keep sharing. Okay, my friend, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.